Welcome to everyone who's listening in to our second meeting of the ARPA subcommittee to figure out how to spend all this money. The agenda today is we're going to start out with just getting a little bit of feedback from the process that we discussed last week. And Arthur, that's how, since you're here, Jenny and Brian aren't here yet. Do you think you're all good? Any questions? We can go over it again if you want.
I think you need to go over it again.
Okay. So, Melissa, the final day to submit proposals is end of business today. Is that right, Melissa?
Yeah.
And Tyler? Yep. And then Melissa and Tyler will review all of the proposals. What are we up to now in terms of numbers?
Without any more that may come in after this, we're at 79 right now.
Well, I know one that's coming in, so we'll be at 80.
Oh, right. We're at 79 with 120 million in total requests.
Awesome. All right. So we're going to be giving out less than 20%, 15. What is that? 15%, 10%. All right. So, so Arthur, what's going to happen is Melissa and Tyler will review each proposal with a 100-point checklist. And basically that first review is, you know, is it feasible? Does it meet criteria? And then those proposals will be split up between the 5 of us, preferably based on general areas of expertise.
Can you give me the areas of expertise? Or can you give me the areas?
Well,
No?
so the proposal, what, the areas for the proposal or the areas?
Yes, no, the area for the proposals.
You mean the criteria, like the bucket?
No. Okay, so I'm assuming, and I might be wrong, that there'll be one section for computers, okay, technology. There'll be another one for, let's say, education. There'll be a third for social justice. I mean, I don't know. I'm just
So the categories themselves are the ARPA categories, which are things like revenue replacement, sewer, water, and broadband. What are the other two I'm blanking on?
COVID response, negative economic impact, and then premium pay.
And right. So those are they have to, all of the proposals have to fall into some sort of category of those categories. When I say it'll be divided up by our expertise, I mean, you know, we have somebody whose expertise is housing and planning. We have someone whose expertise is transportation. We have someone whose expertise is equity. We have someone whose expertise is public health. And we have someone whose expertise is government and seniors. So generally, obviously there'll be overlap, right? And not all of the proposals fit into those 5 buckets.
Sure.
But the proposal, if it's a heavy transportation proposal, then Brian should be looking at that, right? If it's a proposal heavy on housing and planning, then Jenny should be looking at it. If it's public health, I should be looking at it. So, you know, the senior center proposals will go to John. And then the ones left over that don't fit any of those buckets will just kind of get assigned. And then using the second scoring sheet, we'll read the proposal. So if there are 80 proposals and there are 5 of us, you know, 15 proposals. Am I doing my math right? And so we'll read our proposals and score them. And then each proposal will have 2 different scores, both of them on a 100-point scale. You still with me?
Yep.
Okay. And then we need to finish our scoring by next week. When we meet next week, we need to start discussing the proposals. And I think with 80 proposals, what John and I can do with Melissa and Tyler is once the scores are in, we can kind of make a cutoff that if your scores aren't above a certain number, we're not going to discuss that proposal, because I don't think we can discuss 80 proposals, right? So we'll probably discuss in the interim what that cutoff looks like. And then, you know, if your score is I'm just throwing a number out as an example, 50 or above, in the next meeting and the meeting after that, we'll discuss each proposal how much, should it be funded? How much? And we'll talk about this next, because we have some things we can do. We can take the proposal and we don't have to fund a $16 million proposal. We could fund part of it. In fact, I might as well just go right in there now because it's the next thing on the agenda. So we could, we could do partial funding. So we can say this, oh, great, Brian's here. Oh, hi, Brian.
Good afternoon.
Apologies for being late. Thanks for having me.
No worries. We recorded it so you can basically just going over the process again for review and checking in with everybody. And we just reached to the part where we're talking about but we're going to have at least 80 proposals. So in the interim this week, sometime John, Melissa, and Tyler and I will discuss the cutoff in terms of the scores. So, if a proposal scores 10 on the town scorecard and 10 on the community scorecard, we are not going to look at them further, right? We can't look at 80 proposals. It's not reasonable. So we'll figure out once we start to see some scores coming in by next Friday, we'll have a cutoff and we'll start discussing the proposals that meet a certain point number. Does that make sense to everybody? Is everybody still with me? Okay.
Yes.
So and I would say one of the things we wanted to emphasize today is that we can do partial funding. So let's say proposal X wants $5 million for 4 years. We can say, okay, we're going to give them, obviously depending on the proposal, some proposals, they need all of the money to do what they want to do. Some don't. So, but let's say this is to run a program for 5 years. We can say, okay, well, we'll give you $1 million a year for 3 years instead of $1 million a year for 5 years. Or we'll give you $500,000 a year for 5 years. There's some, so you can look at a proposal and yes, thank you. You can look at a proposal and say it's worth funding, but we are not going to fund it in the way that they're requesting. So I would keep that in mind. So you can fund a smaller dollar amount. We can fund a part of a proposal. So we can say, this is a huge, especially this is relevant to you, Brian and Jenny. It's a big transportation or housing planning project. We could fund the feasibility study, right? We don't have to fund the whole thing. Am I missing anything?
Yeah, I'm sorry, I apologize.
No, please, Arthur, ask as many questions as you want. We want you to understand.
Housing, transportation, public health, senior center? No?
Yes.
And what's the other one?
Equity.
Okay.
That's you.
Yep. Okay. Gotcha. Okay.
All right.
And
I'd say senior center and government. So like the library stuff, I think, that's all right. So if you have a question for somebody who submitted a proposal, so if you are on the fence and you really want to ask the person who submitted the proposal, you should email them, but please, I beg you, CC the ARPA review email and ask them to respond to that email so we have it for everyone to see. We could ask them to come to a meeting too, but I feel like that could get out of control very quickly. So I would hesitate. I would prefer email because we can trace it and everyone can see it. And then I would ask for everyone to make a special consideration for any proposals that ask for staff, especially staffing needs that would then eventually go into the operating budget for the town, right? And when I say special consideration, I mean, we need to be very, very thoughtful about that. We can't add $10 million to the operating budget of this town 3 years from now. So we need to really keep to a minimum or avoid this altogether if we can. So when you're looking at proposals, please be mindful of that. John, am I missing anything?
Nope.
Tyler?
Nope.
Okay. Arthur and Brian, how are you with that so far?
Seems very reasonable to me.
All right, good.
Right.
I think so too, but I'm in it so deep, it's hard to, you know what I mean? It's hard to, I was telling the other committee members, I'm dreaming about this committee now. So. Yes, actually, so somebody made a very important consideration in the chat, which I think is worth just being clear about. For the special consideration for staff, that's town staff. If, let's just say Steps to Success is asking money for a staff member, it's up to them to figure out how they carry that on afterwards. I'm just talking specifically about adding money to the town's operating budget. Got it? Everybody's clear on that? Okay, great. And John and I will compile the input from the select board and we'll share that at our next meeting. Now, I just want to go over the calendar quickly. So we're going to get, except for the ones that haven't come in yet, Melissa and Tyler, and we can discuss how you want to do this, Melissa and Tyler. We're going to get our assignments today at some point. Today, tomorrow?
I think that's the plan, right?
Yes, the plan will be the plan. Yes.
I mean, I was imagining that we would be calling up the spreadsheet and then just kind of going through it and
great. That's
putting assignments next to each of the projects that we have in hand. And then we're going to have to figure out the dozen or so that have come in after that. I think maybe the chairs can assign those
just
after the
assign
meeting's done.
Yeah, I think that's great. We'll do that at the end.
We did just get two a minute ago, so it's still growing.
Yeah.
You just got two more proposals. Is that what you're saying?
I can't.
The beauty of a deadline.
Yeah.
I'm going to ask folks to not use the chat unless you're making like what Bonnie did, making a correction on something or a clarification. Thank you. So today we will assign, and then Tyler will make sure we have available the scoring sheets. And thank you for doing that. He did a lovely job. And I would say do the best that you can do. If you don't know the answer to something about one of the questions, you can reach out to the committee and we'll be happy to help, right? But don't break, you're going to have like 15 to 20 to score, and they need to be scored by our meeting next Friday. So keep that in mind. Do the best that you can do. And some of them are, there's 3 or 4 proposals from the same source. So some of the questions are, once you answer them once for that particular source, it'll be very easy to bring up that answer, yes or no answer again. So the next week at March 25th and April 1st, we will have both scores. We'll have our cutoff, we'll have the select board input, and we will start discussing how we want to put this slate together, which proposals definitely are going to be funded and which proposals are we going to modify and which proposals are not going to be funded. We're going to start working out our slate.
And we'll have an understanding of the overflows in the buckets, and that will also kind of be something to we have recommended allocations for each bucket that we're trying to meet.
Yes.
So
thank you, Melissa. We should bring that, make sure we have that available to everybody before the meeting next Friday.
Yeah, the buckets being equity, senior center, public health, transportation.
No, so those are our areas of expertise.
Yeah.
Arthur, because almost, I'd say at least 80% of the proposals fall into those spaces. Okay. The buckets are the priorities outlined by the community engagement process in intersection with the priorities for how the ARPA money should be spent.
So the town administrator made a recommendation that the $20 million be divided among vulnerable populations, which was $12 million, government operations and capital, which was $4 million, economic recovery, $3 million, technology and infrastructure, $1 million. So that's kind of what we're trying to, once we have, Tyler and I have gone through at least what we have so far, graded what we can to date. We're planning on finishing up by Friday as well. And then you'll have a sense of within those categories that we've created where the funding is falling. So
now, just to be clear, those are guidelines. So
Yep.
if we end up putting $1.5 million in technology, that's up to us. But we want to heavily emphasize the money, have a focus on vulnerable populations, right? That was very, very clear from the community engagement process.
So
And that was
Miriam,
a
can
great
I ask a question?
Yeah, please.
So yeah, this is clearly a subjective process that just by definition has to be. That I get that. I guess the question I have is the weight we should put behind applications that have very specific estimates, cost estimates, versus more general, $1 million for blah, 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 is that something that you feel like we should give more weight to those that have sort of done their homework, or should all applications be treated equal?
So that is a great question. I mean, we can discuss that as a group. To me, I think that we want the money to be spent properly, right? We want it to a program to actually do what it's supposed to do. And if somebody's done their homework, that's obviously more likely. Some of the programming doesn't lend itself to a super detailed budget. And especially if it's coming from a community source, it may not, it is going to make it a little challenging to compare something like a transportation project to the food bank necessarily, right? So the answer is, I think this is the part that comes out with our discussion. So we say, okay, we don't need that kind of budget to give money to the food bank. We know they're going to spend it on food. So I think that it's a great question and we need to keep it in mind. I think as you are evaluating your 20 proposals, if it's a transportation proposal and you would expect them to know the numbers, then I think you should feel comfortable scoring them lower if they don't. Is that helpful? Does everybody else agree? I'm not seeing any objection.
That makes sense. That makes sense.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. That
you.
is a great question. Okay.
Yeah.
So it gives us 2 full sessions to kind of discuss the, starting to highlight which proposals we want to fund. And I think it's helpful for us to have a draft slate. So April 8th, we'll prepare a draft slate where we'll have to actually pull the trigger and agree on what we think should be funded, for how much and for how long. That way, during public comment, people can see what our draft slate is. And then we can have a nice, robust public comment, meet again, take into account everything we've heard from the public hearing, and finalize the slate for the select board. Now, we have one problem, which is one of our Fridays is April 15th, which is Good Friday. So, I mean, hey, I'm Jewish, I don't care, but is the town closed? Is that a formal holiday?
no.
Oh, so we could still meet. I mean, I'm fine with it. I didn't know how everybody else is.
I got a great Friday and meet.
Say that again?
It'll be a great Friday and
It'll be a
meet
great
that.
Friday. Oh, it's Passover.
Spoke too soon, didn't you?
Actually, but I think Passover starts that night. So if anybody, one of the participants want to correct me, but I think Passover starts that evening, which means a 2 p.m. meeting would be fine. So I'm such a good Jew. I'm leaving the next day for Jamaica. So, so if there are no objections, then we can just keep that meeting good at 2 o'clock on Friday the 15th. Arthur, John, Melissa, Tyler, everyone's okay with that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, well, then we don't have a problem. And now, unless you have any other further questions, we can start assigning proposals.
I'm gonna ask Tyler to pull up the spreadsheet. so
Right,
that we
and
can talk.
Tyler, can you walk us through also how, like, how I'm gonna pull each scoring sheet down for each proposal? You know what I mean? When I go sit on my computer to score?
The basic idea, I think, with the scoring sheet was, I was just gonna, there's the template that's set up and you'll just keep saving that for each project. And however you want to organize that, I guess, is up to each person.
So you're gonna send us the template and we'll download it because it's in Excel, right?
Yes.
Okay, so you'll send us the template. I think you may have even already sent it.
It's posted in PDF form on the website, but yeah, he'll
We'll
send
need
it
it
to
in the
workable.
Excel form.
Yep.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we'll need it in the Excel form. Okay, got it. Thank you. All right, go for it.
Oh, so
Should we just start at the top and go down?
yeah, that's what I was gonna ask.
All right. Well, here's what tell me if this is crazy, but I'm just wondering, like, maybe we should just go through and put my name by all the public health ones right now. So I
was
know
gonna
how
say,
many.
Filter by
Yeah.
department, and then we can kind of pick, we can assign the departments, and then we can go through the community piece and then assign that.
That's
'Cause I think the departments will be a little bit more obvious.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And that way, at least we can get a big chunk of them assigned.
Yeah. Emergency management should be me.
I'm just gonna do initials for now.
Yeah.
Okay,
And the very top one, emergency management.
there's a couple of them, so we'll just,
Oh, okay. Yeah.
okay.
Now, how many does that give me?
Great question. 9 so far.
Okay. Shall we do
You wanna-
transportation? Oh, go ahead.
I was gonna say, do you want to do it by the expenditure category as well? Because we have the health department, but we also have the public health expenditure. That'd be good.
Yeah, that's fine by me. Is that okay with everyone?
I hear no objection.
Oh, no, hold on. We have
Oh.
council on aging, and that's gonna go to John, so.
Oh, yeah. Okay, so that's all right. That's right. Okay. So nope. All right, what's the next department? Oh, yeah, council on aging. Good.
See. And Arthur, you were doing library?
No, equity.
Equity.
I thought you said, someone had said he was also doing library. I don't know why.
No, I would think
Yeah.
John and I can, depending on how many there are, John and I can split that, but we'll see. Or unless John just wants them all. What do you want, John?
Good question. I'm trying to just interpret the spreadsheet at this point. So, because I'm seeing library and then I see public health and then yeah.
Oh, yeah,
Okay,
ignore
yeah.
column G. That's the, you're looking at column C.
So
Yeah.
I would suggest we just do the obvious ones first and then come back.
Yeah,
Yeah, let's stick with department and then we can break it down more. So we go through these I just put in, so these are still blank.
council on aging. There's a few council on aging missing there.
There we go.
And just for members of the public, we are going to make sure that, well, everything is posted on the ARPA site. I'm going to put the link to the ARPA site for those that don't have it handy. But that's where the scoring sheets are. That's where all the projects live. So that will be in the chat right now.
And the ARPA site, the link to that is also available through the subcommittee page as well.
All right, keep going.
Finance.
I should probably do IT.
This is great. You should just take them all, Miriam.
Yeah, I know. I'm just gonna stay silent until Mary takes them.
No, keep going.
Don't worry, you'll get your turn, Brian.
Yeah, let's get to the transportation ones now. Where's DPW?
Now, where is DPW? I've
Planning
been waiting for that to
development.
come out.
There we go.
There we go.
Oh, okay.
I think planning development, that can all go to Jenny.
Okay. JR, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Yep.
So some of these with DPW are not all transportation. Some are infrastructure as well. So
Um,
I'm happy to take them.
you happy to take them? Yeah.
Yep.
It might be easier if you have all of, if whoever has. Yeah. I
This is
agree.
more. This is an art as much as it is a science.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, the only thing I would say about this is because these are for different, very different amounts. You know, we've got some in there that are in the millions and some that are, you know, less than 10,000. So do we want to try to establish some kind of a balance of how much the dollar amount is for each individual to be scoring?
I think it's an interesting thought, but I think that will come out once, because I think what's going to happen is some of these proposals, regardless of how much they're asking for, aren't going to make the cut for us to discuss. So I say, let us do this process first, John. And then when we're down to like the 40 that we're going to actually discuss, I think we have to be really mindful that, you know, 80% of it isn't going to DPW, which is what the buckets are about anyway.
When do we have that discussion of which ones don't make the cut?
So once we have the two scores, you, Tyler, Melissa, and I will decide what the cutoff is. You know, if your score, each proposal has two scores of 100, let's say it's a perfect proposal, it's going to get 200 points. 100 points for the score sheet 1, 100 points for score sheet 2, right? If you've gotten 20 points total, we're not going to discuss that proposal any further, right? So at some point, once all the scores are in, we have to decide where the cutoff is. And I think that's just something we're going to have to do. Because I think, as Brian said, there is, as much as we're trying to make this objective and transparent, there is some subjectivity. We can't discuss 80 proposals.
Yeah, I get that. You know, on the other hand, we had sort of acknowledged that we don't want to make scoring the exclusive determinant of whether something gets funded. You know,
Well, I think if the scores are so low that we compared to other, you know, again, there's $110 million being asked for out of 20 million for us to give. Can you give me 2 more minutes? We can't discuss all 80 proposals.
right.
So I think this is a way for us to discuss the proposals that are actually fundable. Yes.
I had a couple of calls this week from people wanting to know, this may sound like a strange question, but it's really not. Is the school department's need for, you know, some $5 million included in the ARPA applications? And I didn't, strangely enough, without consulting the spreadsheet, I wasn't sure of the answer.
So the school department submitted proposals today.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, right. She just said that 10 minutes ago.
Yeah. Well, yeah. But at the same time, that where we were up until 10 minutes ago was basically, it was just a discussion of revenue replacement, you know, on the order of some $4 million. And I'm not sure how that would come out on a score sheet, but it's a pretty important decision to be making for this committee.
John, would you like to score the school's proposals?
Well, now that we know that they've got actually had broken down into specific proposals, sure. Sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
What was that, 5 million?
Probably
Uh,
comes out to about 5 million, yeah.
Yeah, I think their gap is 5 million. Now, again, I think one of the things we've been very careful about is all the proposals are coming in equally. $20. All the proposals are coming in equally. So, they will be scored and evaluated along with the town department, along with the community proposals.
I'm sorry to be asking so many questions, but may I ask one more?
Yeah, of course.
So again, you've got like the DPW, they've got a whole bunch of proposals and it adds up to quite a lot of money.
Mhm.
So we go through our scoring and we come up with like 5, 6, 7, 8, or 9 of the DPW proposals that we think rise to the top. And the cumulative total is like $6 million. And then we say to the head of DPW, good news, we've approved 6 proposals or 7 or 8, and it comes to, some $6 million in ARPA funding. And then the DPW head says, yeah, but that's not how I would spend the 6 million. If I had $6 million, those were my lower priority proposals. What do we do then?
We say, sorry. I mean, to me, this is, if that was the case, then the head of DPW could have submitted their 6 most important proposals. What they've done is submitted what they've submitted, and it's up to us to decide how appropriate it is to use ARPA funds for those proposals, right? We're not giving them $6 million for their budget. We're giving them $6 million, theoretically. I don't actually see us giving them $6 million, but we're theoretically giving them $6 million for specific proposals that have intended impacts in the way the community has asked for them to be prioritized, right? So it might not have been that department head's #1 priority, but our job is to make sure the ARPA funds are being spent in a way that prioritizes the ARPA rules and regs and the community desires for how this money should be spent. Does that make sense?
No, it makes perfect sense.
I'm happy to say to her, we're not giving you, or whoever, I'm not saying her, but I'm happy to say that, great, and you can apply again next round. Yes, ma'am.
Do you have a mask?
Anyways, okay. Should we keep, we're good to keep assigning?
Sure.
All right. Who's next? How, we should do, we also have to just keep in mind how many people are, how many proposals everyone's getting. But John, there's schools. Oh, but there's nothing there yet. Oh, but we'll put your name next to it anyway.
I think
Okay.
it's just blank because they just came in, so the summaries will be populated
Got it.
once we, assign the categories and everything like that. But the request is absolutely in.
Great.
I just put them in just so we could actually tally
Oh, perfect.
requests.
Thanks, Tyler.
Would be Brian. The bus fare.
Oh, the select board. Yeah. All right. Should we, and we need to get Arthur's. I'm gonna go back up to the top.
Yeah.
Should we just start going down with what we have now?
Are you starting with black and brown? Is that? the
Yes.
start?
And Arthur, we're gonna assign the equity ones to you.
Yeah, okay, go ahead.
All right, so Arthur gets. Who wants to do broadband? I suppose I'm doing tech, so. Is that tech or that's public housing? So does that go to Jenny? That should probably go to Jenny, actually.
Yeah, I think she needs,
Housing, yeah. Chamber of Commerce, who wants
Hmm.
that?
I'd like that, actually.
I
if
was gonna
that's okay.
actually ask if you wanted that, John.
Yeah, I'd like that.
All right, Arthur, do you want the food pantry or do you want me to take it?
Give me the food pantry.
Yeah.
What number is that?
This one, that's
22-36. Housing Authority, that's gonna go to Jenny. Vic, Arthur.
What?
Uh,
number?
it's, 22-35. Brookline Interactive. Do you want to do that one, Arthur?
Hold on 1 second. Hold on.
Yeah.
2235
Yeah,
is Brookline Improvement Coalition, right?
correct. Yeah.
Hold on, let me write it. I'm writing it down, okay?
You know,
Sorry.
we'll send this to you also.
Oh, you will? Okay.
Yes,
Yeah.
All right,
you'll
okay.
get this.
Good, good. And then what was the other one?
Brookline Interactive Group. Are you get big?
Okay. What number?
22-7. And I'm going to give you the teen center also, 22-6.
Okay.
Building, I think should go to Jenny, right? I just want to check our numbers.
oh, yeah, let's do it like this.
I think Jenny's a good idea. Melissa, will you be you will be sending us a updated version of the spreadsheet, right?
Yeah.
And will it have a column with the narrative information in it?
So the full narrative will be still living in the PDFs.
No way of getting that into one of the columns in the spreadsheet?
It would just make the spreadsheet unmanageable. But if there's a specific project you're looking for the narrative for, you know, we can take that kind of on a case by case.
Okay.
Okay, didn't I see something about Brookline women?
Yeah, we're not there yet. You want that
Okay.
one, Arthur?
Yeah, okay, no, I'll wait till you get there.
Okay, wait till we get there.
All right,
What
this is
are,
busy.
Tyler's just gonna update us on numbers.
Yeah, let me,
I'll be quiet.
oh, you're fine. All right, let me sort on this again. So right now, Arthur, you're at 6. Brian, you are at 14. Jenny is at 13. John, you are at 11. And Miriam, you are at 11.
Okay, great. So 6, 14, 13, 11, and 11. All right. So we can go back to, we have room to keep assigning. Let's assume everyone's getting 20.
We want
So
to
Arthur was 6, right?
Arthur was
Yes.
6, yeah.
do we want to get Jenny building?
Yeah, I would give Jenny building. And I think the one above that, you put JV, but it's JR. Yeah, JR. All right.
And then going down.
So this is a good example just to talk about with the group. So like, for example, for finance, there's a disparity study. The narrative is not, there's not
Yeah.
a lot of narrative, but there is a lot of history behind the request. You know, this is something that's been a town meeting initiative. It's something that, you know, would allow us to expand our procurement and be able to do similar work to what Boston is doing. So I think there is context behind a lot of these projects that is what Tyler and I can kind of provide, especially for the town departments,
Great.
that will help you as you're trying to create your scores. You know, there are some projects in here that will help improve the town's financial condition by improving assets. You know, so I think that there, you know, in addition to kind of engaging with the department heads, you know, we're here as resources to also provide some of the context that maybe not everyone has.
Great. And I think that 2243 should go to Arthur.
Which ones is that?
The disparity study.
Give me a number.
2243.
Oh, go ahead, Tyler.
Oh, sorry.
20.
It's 2243. Are you
Got it,
able
got
to
it.
see this? Do you want me to make the screen a little bigger?
Yeah, that's okay. No, go ahead. 23 disparity. Okay.
Okay.
Electric vehicles.
Let me,
Yeah, Brian.
sorry, let
Public safety, policy training, mental health, wellness, that should be me. And 2237 should be Arthur. Arthur, 2237.
Gotcha.
Library. John, how do you feel about taking the library ones unless there's,
Yeah, I'm good with that.
okay. There are a lot of them.
There
I know.
there are a lot.
Premium pay. I can take that one, I guess.
Yeah, I think that one is worth a discussion with the town administrator and the HR director and labor council to understand kind of the approach and then also kind of the bargaining implications of such a proposal.
Well, I think, can I just say, I've read already the narrative on that. I think because it's from an individual in the town and not from you know what I mean? It's not from like Fang doing premium pay for the IT team. I don't see how we could fund it. But we can discuss it some more. What is public submission? It means we don't know, right?
Yeah, this is one we got today. It was about, I think, it was either like basic pothole filling or some sort of road work. So I would just give this to Brian.
Brian, okay, lucky you, Brian.
I love potholes. Doesn't everybody?
Listen, I just lost a front tire on my convertible Mini Cooper the day it turned 70 degrees out, and I can't drive it with the top down because it's stuck in the garage. Just say it. Potholes. Rec. Maybe we should do a number check real quick because I could probably take rec.
Who had rec in the budget assignments? Either one of you or no?
E.
So that might be good overlap for you because you're already.
Yeah, that's why I'm
familiar
saying, yeah, I could take rec. Arthur's at,
Arthur's at
Wait.
8.
we need to give more to Arthur.
Yeah, but you got 2237 for me?
Yes, I think we assigned 2237 to you.
And what,
You're gonna get more assigned, Arthur.
okay, that's all right. Now I'm it's just hard to keep up. That's okay.
Yeah.
And-
But
and
again,
ready.
we're gonna send this to you, so you'll, and we can send you just yours if it's easier.
Yeah, right. Yes, right.
What do we got for
Melissa,
Brian?
Melissa, is there going to be a, a bonus pay proposal that isn't from an individual?
I think we need to have a conversation with the town administrator on premium pay, for sure.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah.
I agree. Okay, so Brian only gets, he's almost near his capacity. JR 15.
Jeannie's got 15. John has 19.
Oh, all right, it's the
Ooh.
library, it's the library.
Library, go library.
And Miriam, you have 13.
13, all right. So
Okay, I'm
Arthur and I
lowest.
need to get some more. Let's
Yeah.
see. Let's go, let's go.
All right.
You might want to consider,
I'll-
how about,
Go ahead, Arthur.
how about anything from recreation?
Yeah, I'll take
Oh.
rec because I did their budget.
Okay,
And then I think a lot of the ones after that are you, Arthur.
go ahead. Give
Steps to success, definitely.
me the numbers.
22.4 and 22.5.
And I can take the town, well, let me see, that puts me at, Arthur can do the town clerk ones, I think. They're fairly straightforward. And I think there's equity in voting,
So if you want the last three, because I know Arthur said he
Yeah.
wanted to do women thriving as well.
women in thriving, Arthur.
Women is Thriving is me?
Yes, and we're gonna give you the voting stuff, early voting and mail-in voting. So it's 2154,
2154,
22-1,
20, okay, yeah,
and 22-27.
22-27, okay.
Is everybody assigned now?
It looks like it. Yep.
Yay. All right.
And when is the deadline? Is it midnight tonight?
Friday, next Friday,
Next Friday?
next Friday.
Thought it was tonight. Okay.
The deadline for submissions is today, but.
Oh,
the-
sorry. Yes, the deadline for submissions is the end of the business day today.
End of the business day today. Okay.
For us to score them next Friday.
Right. Yeah, I understand.
Sorry. I was like, I'm not scoring these right now. Do you want to just update the final numbers, Tyler? So we
Oh,
thank
yeah.
you.
Arthur is at 13.
13, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay,
So 13. Brian has 16. John 15.
No, that's
No,
Jenny.
Jenny, right? Sorry, the J's throwing me off. Okay. John will have 19. He didn't change. Miriam, you will have 15.
All right, John, are you okay with 19? Do you want to toss a couple my way or Arthur's way?
No, I'm okay with it. It's fine.
You're okay with it. I think a lot of them are the library.
Yes, they are.
All right, I think that's pretty good, everybody.
And if
All right.
any come in the next 2 hours, just use your common sense.
yeah,
Yeah.
right.
Melissa and Tyler, I think you can just assign whoever you think is the most appropriate person.
Sounds good.
All right, that leaves just hardly any time for public comment, but let's do it.
Okay, I'm just going to ask people to use the hand raise feature if they'd like to make public comment. Okay, 16 attendees at this point. I don't see any hand raised. Oh, here we
All right.
go.
Oh,
We have
got one. Let's listen.
Unmute. My name is Deborah Brown. I'm a town meeting member, and I'm also the president of the board for the Brookline Improvement Coalition. And I wanted to say two things. I thought you guys have done a really good job of just wading through all of these proposals in a fairly quick period of time. And I guess that's it. So thank you. It's hard work.
Thank you,
It's really
Deborah.
hard work. And Tyler, I guess you're going to see it on the back end, but that's my public comment.
Thank you.
Oh.
Anybody else? All right, so I'll just remind everybody, we'd love to hear from you, but please don't lobby members of the panel individually. Please do email us at arparreview@brooklinemass.gov. Please be aware that your emails will be made public. And again, in the effort to keep this as transparent a policy as possible, we'll have a file for all emails and people will be able to see what other people are hoping we do. This will be this has been recorded. It will be posted. So if you missed some of it, or if you can't come next week, all of our meetings will be recorded and public. And finally, please join us for our I just hit my dog. Please join us. Everybody knows Nori comes to every meeting for our public hearing Monday. Is it Monday, April 11th?
Oh, April 11th. I thought it was April 16th. Okay.
No, Monday, April 11th. You better be there.
I'll be here.
From 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. Everyone will have 90 seconds. We will be sticking to the time limit because we hope there will be a lot of public comment at the public hearing. And we have a whole session after in order to take into account what we hear at the public hearing. So please be assured we intend to listen very carefully. And it is a joint select board subcommittee public hearings. So the select board will be there as well.
Miriam, may I just ask a question?
Of course.
It's John. I'm sure this might be a question on the
I
mind.
knew that, John.
This might be a question on the minds of some people, who have made applications. Will they be able to see the scoring sheets, and will they have any opportunity to, question why they didn't get a good score for this or that or the other thing?
So the answer is yes, everyone. Oh, go ahead, Melissa, you do it.
So I think, Tyler and I were kind of going through, it's a lot of scoring sheets. So I think what we're going to do is put the score on the master sheet. And if there is a request for the backup behind that, we will provide it. But at this point, I think we need to focus on the projects that we're moving forward with. Because otherwise you're going to be spending a lot of time defending all of the judgments that you made that informed the scores. And I think that will just bog you down. So, I think that we can talk about, how to share the scores more broadly once we're kind of beyond this crunch point.
Yes, I agree. And at the same time, I'm wondering if members of this committee, I know I feel this way. I might want to just see how other people scored their organizations. And it might, in a couple of instances, it might raise questions that I'd like to ask. And I hope we have time for that discussion.
I suspect that we aren't going to be done scoring by the time we meet next week. So that likely there could be some collective scoring that we could do at next week's meeting as well.
That's a great idea. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And
Okay.
and I also wonder if maybe next week or the week after, the possibility of having the meeting go from 2 to 3:30, but I'll send that out in an email to see what the availability is. I'm just worried with so many proposals, we're not going to have enough time. Right. Okay. We'll discuss that, and we'll post appropriately once we figure that out.
Or maybe we could do midnight till 2 or 3. No.
God, I love you, Arthur, but no.
Okay.
You can try, but I won't
I
be
already
awake.
told you I'm dreaming about this committee already. I don't need to do it in real life at midnight. All right, if that's I love to have an on-time meeting. So
Right.
we have
Okay.
1 minute to close. Anybody have any final questions, comments, or input before we close? And I will follow up with email as usual. Okay,
Enjoy the outside.
thank you. And we'll make sure that Jenny gets the recording of this.
Great.
All right.
Thank
Okay.
you, everybody.